Hello friends, this is Sharon from Mad Paper Crush. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing some planning in my altered book planner, and I'm going to be using a digital kit that I have in my shop called This and That, and I'm just going to be planning a couple of different weeks, and I wanted to bring you along with me. So I am cutting out the pieces for the first week that I'm going to be doing. I decided that I wanted to do a couple of different weeks, and I like to put the week itself on the left-hand side, and then the right-hand side I like to use for lists or note cards or tags or things like that that might help me get, have enough room to do the things that I need to do for that week. So I'm just choosing a background to put on the right-hand side, and then I'm picking some different list cards that I can use in my planner over there as well, and I'm cutting those out too. Okay, I'm also in the kit. I have some labels that I have in there, and so this one I am cutting out the one that says need this, because I know that I'm going to need to do some grocery shopping soon, and so I thought it would be nice to include the need this label on that one list so that I can keep track of the different things that I'm going to need at the grocery store. So for all of the weeks, you'll notice I try to get the pieces ready that I want to use, and then, so for instance, you can see here I'm cutting this piece down to make sure it fits on the right side of my page and covers all the words that are on there. And then after I feel like I've got most of the pieces together, at least the bigger ones, sometimes I'll wait and put some additional collage bits on after I get the main pieces on. But I will put all of the main pieces together, as you see that I'm doing here, and then I will go through and try to distress them all so that they're all ready to be glued down. And I'm just using Vintage Photo Distress ink on all of these here. And now I'm just going to glue these main pieces down, and for a lot of them I'm going to be using my glue stick. It keeps things rather thin, which I like, and it also has good coverage over the pages, so I like that as well. So sorry that my head was just in the way there. And I'm using my bone folder to just be sure that everything gets pushed down, and I've kind of forced out any air bubbles that might be under there as well. So you will see that I'll probably be using some different glues throughout this video, but for these cover pieces and for my weekly pieces, I do really like using that glue stick, that Oohoo glue stick that you see there. So this is a pretty basic layout spread that I have going here, and I do that sometimes. Sometimes I do things a little bit more complex, but sometimes I like to just get things down, you know. Done is good sometimes. So, and you can see that little square above my journal is my February calendar clip that I am using to make sure I put the right dates on the days of the week that are there. And now I'm just adding in, trying to decide to have some additional, you know, collage pieces on there to add some contrast. I like these little number collage things that I have, and I use them often. So I'm just kind of going through my stash, seeing what might look good on there, and picking out a couple that I might end up using on the spread. And then I'll glue them down as well. All right, I'm ready to move on to my next week. And I don't always do a bunch of weeks in a row like I'm going to do here, but I wanted to get them done so that I wouldn't have to worry about them. So I'm using the other weekly spread that's in my This and That kit, and this one has little date labels on there. So I am adding my dates in, and I was trying to fan it to dry the ink because I'm going to write in the days of the week as well. Because this one doesn't have them written in, and I didn't want my hand to smear the ink as I was doing it. I should have done it, written a date and then written the day, but I didn't do them all at the same time. So I'm going to give that some time to dry, and I'm going to do some distressing for this week as well here. So for this week, I decided that I wanted to do something a little fun. Instead of just having a bunch of the cards glued down for lists and journaling, I thought that I would add a pocket to this page. So I'm using another one of the background pages from the kit to put that down first to give me my background. And then I'm going to create a pocket with some of the other ephemera. And then I'm also going to use the tall card that I have in this kit as kind of like a tag to go in that pocket. So since my pocket is about 4 by 4, and I think this tag is like, I don't know, maybe 3.5 by 6 inches tall, I thought that would be a perfect fit to go inside the pocket that I'm making. So I'm getting that ready to go as well. All right, since I know that this tall card is going to be a tag and the back of my paper is blank, I'm going to add some coffee dyed paper to it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some glue to it, again using the glue stick. I'm going to glue it down onto just some coffee dyed paper that I have. And then once the glue is dry, I'm going to take that over to my sewing machine and give it a nice sewn edge so that it'll be a nice sturdy tag to put in the pocket. All right, and I also, since I'm using this card from the kit, I decided to add some weight to it as well. So I just grabbed some junk mail that I have in my stash, and it's probably about cardstock weight. And I'm going to glue it down, my pocket down onto that before I glue it to the page. So I don't want it to tear or pull away. And so adding some cardboard to the back will help with that, make it more sturdy as I, pull tags in and out of there. So I'm just going to glue that down and cut it out, and I'll distress around the edges, and then I will glue 3 sides down, the 2 sides and the bottom, leaving the top open for my tag to slide in and out of. Now I'm just adding a couple of more details, a couple more of those numbers, and a little label that I had put together. I'm going to add to the bottom there, and then I'll add that to the pocket, and this spread will be done. Okay, so for my third spread here, I decided to do something a little bit more complex, a little bit more fun. I'm going to add a couple more features to this spread as well. So I am, once again, going to use the weekly, the normal weekly that I have in the kit. This one doesn't include the weekdays, so the kit also has a list of Monday through Sunday days in it, and I'm going to cut them apart and I'm going to distress them, and I'll put them on my weekly page to use for the left side of this spread coming up here. So for the right side, I'm starting it out the same, so it'll look very similar to what I've done before. I am finding a background page that I want to use, and I'm cutting it down to size so that it'll fit over the words on the right-hand side of my page. But I'm not going to glue it down right away. I'm going to prep the rest of my pieces before I glue anything down, because I'm going to add some flips to this page, and I thought that would be fun. So I'm using a couple of the other cards in this kit. One is a 4x4 card, and the other one I think is a 3.5 by 2.5 maybe. Not sure exactly of the sizes, but either way, I'm going to cut them out, and then I'm actually going to add some hinges to them, and I will show you those once I get everything cut out here. All right, so for the hinges, I just pulled out some scrap book pages that I had, and these are fairly heavyweight book pages, so they're not going to tear real easily. And all I'm doing is, they're probably about 2 inches wide. I am cutting them down to be a little bit less than the width of each card. So I don't want them to be sticking out of the edges, so that's why I've trimmed them down just a little bit smaller than the width of each of the cards. And then I'm just trimming the edges so that, once again, I don't have anything that sticks out over the edge. So I'm just tapering the edges of one side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them down. I haven't folded anything yet, but I'm just going to glue one side, the more corner-edged side, so the edge that I didn't taper, I'm going to put glue on that and glue it to the back of the card. Now I'm going to put one card at the top of the page and one at the bottom. So I'm gluing on these hinges. One's going to be coming over the top of the card, and the other one is going to be at the bottom of the card. So when I fold the card up and down, they'll be right side up on the page itself. So I will show you what I mean when we do that. So now what I'm going to do, because these are going to be flips, I want to have something on the back of the page, and I thought it would be nice to have more writing room on the backs of these cards. So I'm just gluing down now that the hinge is installed, and it'll be sandwiched between the card itself and the coffee dyed paper that I'm gluing this down to. So for both of them, I'm just adding glue to the card piece. The part of the hinge that's sticking out doesn't have any glue on it. You don't want to glue that down yet. And so once those are in place, then I can cut them out. All right, now that I have all of the excess paper cut off of there, I'm just folding the hinge over to meet the edge of the card. So like I said, one's at the bottom and one's at the top. I just folded them over a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and distress them now, and then I am going to add some sewing to make sure that my glued paper stays on the back, but I wanted to distress them first before I went and did that. All right, I have my pieces sewn and I distressed my background paper. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the hinge that's sticking out to my background paper so that when I glue down my background paper, the hinge will be hidden behind that. So you can see I'm hinging one of the cards to the top and I'm hinging the other card to the bottom. So I'm gluing that hinge onto the background paper, and then the background paper will be glued down to the entire piece. So I'm trying to line things up and see how that looks, but you can see I have my 2 cards on there that will flip up and flip down, and then I'll be able to write on the front and the back of those. And this time, because I have some more weight on that background paper, I am going to be using my 3-in-1 craft glue. I think this will hold a little bit better and make sure that those cards are nice and sturdy when they go into the book and I'm flipping them around to write on them. All right, I'm finished with my 3rd weekly spread, and so you can see I have each of the 3 of them there ready to go with the different pieces that I did for them. And as I was flipping through, of course, I realized that I wanted to add some additional ephemera, and this is, you know, something that doesn't stop just on the day that I do the first spread. A lot of times I'll go back into my planner and continue to add things as I go. But I'm going to add this little label that's in there. I thought this 3rd spread was awfully neutral, and so I wanted to add a nice little pop of color, and this little label does that. So I'm just going to stick that on, and then we'll be done. All right, friends, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining me in this altered book planner video. I hope that I gave you some ideas to use in your planner and that you get out there and do some planning. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you in the next video, friends. Take care. Bye-bye.